So Fundi Bots is an organization that's working to accelerate science learning in Africa. What we do is use robotics as a learning tool. We've worked with about 177 schools across Uganda and more than 10,000 students. We use robotics as a learning aid to help students understand about engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, programming, etc. And we work with primary school students, secondary school students, and university school students. We're really excited about transforming learning, and we have a lot of programs to help them understand science better. My most fundamental lesson on the journey of Fundi Bots is Kaizen.
So Kaizen is something that's really, really important to us as an organization. Just the fact that we have to consistently keep building ourselves. It's all about growth. It's all about continuous improvement.
The thing about growth and leading organizations that you can make all the plans you want, but at the end of the day, you face challenges, you face obstacles, you face all sorts of issues that make you want to give up or make you want to quit. And sometimes we have this idea of perfection, that it has to be this way or it won't happen at all. But the lessons that Kaizen brings is basically to say, do what you can now, improve it later. So instead of saying I have to be perfect from now until 10 years from now, you're saying let me do what I can do now, and I'll keep improving that over and over as we go along.
When I look at where we have reached with our training, especially in northern Uganda, the most memorable moments for me are the very first time we went to northern Uganda to train, and we were partnering with another organization to do this training. And one of the people who was an instructor at that time was Henry. Henry had begun learning at my place as a student who had just finished his senior school, and just seeing that transition from him being a student to now becoming an instructor was one of the strongest testaments of Kaizen, because he had continuously improved himself, he had continuously learned more information, and now he was able to pass on that information to more students.
The schools that we used to go to, that's first of all, let me start with the one which clings in my head, that's St. Kizito, that's Mr. Gaspar's school. Then Nabisumusa Girls. Then we used to go to Mpeji. There's a school in Mpeji, I don't remember very well. But I remember those are most of those are schools actually that still I still memorize, and I remember that we had some good experience with them. Because those were the first schools actually. I myself was told that Henry, you're going to trade. And I was like, okay. But it was a little bit hard because I was someone who was shy, not confident enough. But that's when I started getting experience. But until I reached the level of training the interns, some were a bit mature.
Fundi Bots is a story of an African child trying to study science with all the challenges against him, but not giving up. Challenges of no teacher, challenges of lack of equipment, challenges of no library, and challenges of a very rigid curriculum. But this child must rise up, study science, and make a contribution towards transforming Africa.
Okay, I met Gaspar before I met Solomon. So Gaspar was a deputy teacher, but he was also a science, he was teaching physics and mathematics in St. Kizito. So I was coordinating a program called Cafe Scientific. This was an international program which was trying to link young people with working scientists to discuss issues on science and technology that they were interested in. So in schools, we identified teachers who could coordinate the program.
As he told me, I've been to this place and they've told me you are a teacher in this school who is very passionate about science, and we are running this Cafe Scientific program, which gives students the opportunity to explore topics outside the rigid science curriculum.
And once we met, he was a different kind of teacher, very interested in new approaches of teaching science, and he opened the doorway for streams of speakers, I must say, to go to his school. So that is how I met Mr. Bua.
I met Betty during a conference, a diaspora conference that was organized by a very good friend of mine called TMS Rouge, Teddy Rouge. TMS was organizing a conference that was meant to bring people in the diaspora together with government institutions and different actors within the technology and education space.
I went to represent my organization, which was Cafe Scientific.
So when I was sharing my story about how I do science at home and how I'm building robots in my spare bedroom, she really loves that story.
So I was very intrigued about that. And so after the meeting, I asked him to tell me more about his robots. And also I talked about my Cafe Sci program and how students wanted to meet someone who was building robots.
Cafe Sci was helping students learn science that was not in the curriculum. So she invited me to speak about nanotechnology, about aliens, about planets in space, and it was really fun. But I spoke a lot about robots as well, and I noticed that there was a lot of excitement from the students, especially with the practical demonstrations I was doing for the robots. So I began to speak more about robots, and that's around the time when I was like, you know what, I think I should start this organization that I'd always dreamt about called Fundi Bots.
So after 3 months, Solomon called myself and Mr. Bua, since his students were really leading the probe, to meet him. And when we met him, our first meeting, he had the name of the company, the organization that he wanted to form, and it was Fundi Bots, and he explained what it is.
So shortly after that, one of the highlights, one of the very first victories that we had at the beginning was winning a Google Rise grant. And that grant allowed us to do our very first robotics camp at Nabisunsa. And it was just such an amazing experience. It was very chaotic because it was the very first time we had done it, but it turned out so well. We had lots of students that were very excited about the work that we were doing. We had representatives from government institutions.
One of our earlier discussions, Betty had already accepted to expand Fundi Bots to Eastern Uganda, and had already agreed to expand Fundi Bots to Northern Uganda. And I think in early 2018, I was expecting to be full-time in Northern Uganda, but it was still the issues of funding. It was not possible. We couldn't start. But I remember talking to the CEO and I said, I think I need to start doing some activities, even if I'm still in the main office. So we started doing outreach, coming from using the staff based at the main office. I think I want to thank them. Staff based at the main office to do school outreaches, reaching out to the DEOs of the districts, the school aid teachers, and we started doing school outreach early 2018.
When Fundi Bots came to my school to introduce to us this robotics, they came, showed us robots, and I was really interested because growing up as a child, I always loved just spoiling gadgets to see how these gadgets function. I was this curious child. So when they came, they told us about the robotics, and I picked interest, and that interest led me to Fundi Bots, where I am currently employed.
Hi, my name is Solomon King Benge, and I would like to talk to you about two challenges that really bother me. The first is that very many African institutions are more interested in churning out millions of students through the academic institution at the expense of practical, career-oriented education. The second is that we have millions of African kids who are passionate about technology, who are excited about learning, but are not enrolled in schools. And they don't have access to the resources and tools that would allow them to be the change makers that they could potentially be. Well, at Fundi Bots, we are trying to solve that problem using robotics training in high schools. We use the process of building robots as a fun way for students to learn practical, hands-on science and technology. We've had lots of success at a small scale, but right now we need you to help us reach, inspire, and empower hundreds of thousands of students around the African continent. and we want to create a revolution in education and innovation. One child, one robot at a time. Thank you.
When I joined Fundi Bots, first of all, we had only 2 regional centers. We had Dimbale and Kampala, and then the programs were basically the holiday robotics program that has always been. And then also we had an integrated schools program that happened only in Kampala, about 3 Kampala schools at the time. And then school outreach, of course, with our robotics curriculum, which was what we had at the time. But right now, I can say that all that is just a small, tiny component of where we are. We were able to get more funding and set up a regional office in Gulu, and then later in Barara. So now we have 4 regional offices, and our programming has expanded from just kids in school to kids in universities. Yes, even at the time we had a bit of engagement with university students, but now it has also grown to even to even youth in communities. That's how that program has also expanded.
Schools has 3 categories. We have integrated schools, we have outreach schools, and then we have robotics club schools. Integrated schools, these are schools that pay us for the services. So what happens is that they put us part of their timetable. For example, we meet Lidri School students on Friday, every Friday from 10 to 3. For the outreach schools, we go to these schools that we know that need us, but they cannot afford us. So we go to them, we tell them we have this interesting program. Can you allow the children get the opportunity to learn robotics science? Some schools though take us on for the weekend. That is what we call the robotics clubs, because they have so much work to cover, but they can give the children time so that they can do it in their club time.
Fundi Bots has been with us for the last 2 years. They come in once every week and they do projects with the children. It's mostly practical work. So the usual robotics engineering as we know it, which will typically involve electronics, programming, mechanics. I like that very much because there's so much embedded in it. There's critical thinking, there's problem solving, there are presentation skills, there are collaboration skills, because some of the work is done in groups. What happens is at the end of every term, there's a project where a child identifies a problem in their society, and then they create a solution, a robotics solution to it.
Fundi at Work is a pillar, one of the pillars at Fundi Bots. It works and runs under 3 programs. One is out of school youth training. So for out of school youth training, we carefully identify a team of younger people who have dropped out of school but are passionate about STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and math, and are self-driven. So we train these younger people. At the end of the training, they are skilled enough to be employable and can also employ others. Then for internship program, we invite students from various universities and institutions of higher learning to our Fundi spaces. We train them, and at the end of the training, these students have skills. Then finally, robotics training at university. This program comes into being because of the limitations of internship. With internship, we are with these students for 2 months, and our Fundi spaces are not that spacious to accommodate all the students who need to be trained. So we say, no, let's take this program to the universities.
One story I can share is a student, a former student of Fundi Bots called Zila. She came in as an intern for the internship program. Yeah, as a member of IEEE, she had come to Fundi Bots for a connect session. So the very first one, I was new to everything, seeing the lead, the jumper wire, everything. And when I asked the instructors what those were, when they explained what they were, I was excited and curious to know more about what it is that they do. And in the long run, we, after understanding what the components were and what they did, we came up with projects, individual projects and group projects. Yes, some of the projects I worked on, a traffic light. It seems basic, but it was exciting to me because it was the first thing I did on my own without anyone actually helping me. One of the things that we do is that the students are placed into groups of different students from different universities. So first of all, what they do is collaboration because you're meeting students from different universities. So as you work in a group, because they have to come up with projects from the get-go, like come up with projects, design the projects together, do presentations every week. So I think the flow of the internship, they get to learn many things. One is collaboration.
In a continent where education has been reduced to rote memorization to simply pass examinations, it's refreshing to see kids who are genuinely, passionately excited about learning and innovation. And today, those are the rising stars we celebrate. Our growth is just beginning, and we are grateful for the partners that are helping us scale that impact, specifically the people who are helping us work with teachers and who are helping us grow our Fundi Girls program, because come on guys, girls are awesome rockstar scientists.
We used to go out into the field and realize that for all different programs, whether it was teacher training, school outreach, or community activities, you'd find that the number of girls was considerably low. So we thought, how can we intentionally include girls in all our programming? That's why Fundi Girls was created.
I've got a parents who came and testify. Actually, she's a teacher here. The daughter did some amazing work at home. Up to now, see things like the torch that have got spoiled, these electronic things, she can repair them as I speak now. There's a lot of work she always do, and she has been one of our Fundi girls.
The reason why we have gender equity as one of our core values is because over time we realized that the number of ladies or young girls or girls in the classroom was way lower than the number of the young men or the young boys in the classroom.
Fundi Girls is sort of at the heart of everything that we do at the organization. It weaves through every program pillar: Fundi at school, Fundi at work, and Fundi at home. So under all these program pillars, we have programs that are dedicated, program activities that are dedicated to Fundi Girls. Why? Because we're trying to make sure that there is inclusion of women and girls in everything that we do.
Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has decreed an immediate 2-week ban on all vehicle traffic and a night curfew to combat the spread of the novel coronavirus.
Starting with the 31st of March 2020, there will be a curfew throughout the whole of Uganda. All other movements should stop.
COVID-19. Wow. A lot happened we had also people falling sick, some of our own members.
2020, we began working as normal until March 2020 when the whole country was shut down. And in that space of time, we, I think, reached, I'll not even say a third of the numbers we reach in a year.
We were running a pilot for a very, very important program that had just gotten funding. It had just started in 2020 March, and like a few weeks after the pilot started, the government shut down schools and everyone was basically locked down and we couldn't do any trainings at all.
Most of the work that we do is in-person work, and we interact not only as a team but with the students. So to be put into a position where schools are shut down across the country and offices are also shut down means, one, you can't meet with the team that you may have been previously meeting on a daily basis or at least on a weekly basis, and also you can't engage the students, which is your primary role of work.
It was also such a hard moment whereby transport costs increased and then the food costs also increased.
The most important thing was to make sure that our people could stay healthy and well enough to resume work when things started. So we chose not to lay off people. We actually provided additional support for our staff to work from home. And so we chose to take a step forward instead of a step backwards by helping our people.
When COVID hit in March, really I was amazed having seen this relief fund given to us, topping on our salary in order to meet our needs.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to see everyone here. Thank you so much for everyone who organized this, the different teams, the different leads. Thank you, parents, for bringing your children. Thank you, kids, for being a part of Fundi Bots and for loving Fundi Bots and for showing up every time we call you. For a long time, Fundi Bots' work has been primarily in schools. Everything that we've been doing has been around the school system. But today marks the beginning of a journey where we bring learning directly into your homes. So today's program is the launch of the Fundi at Home program. It's also our 10-year anniversary. It's been 10 long years, and we have grown as a team from one person sitting in his bedroom making robots to dozens of people around the country who have transformed the lives of more than 10,000 children. And the person who has helped bring all of this together is an awesome gentleman called Francis. And Francis has been working very hard for almost a year and a half. And so Francis, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
The day that I probably call the genesis of the Fundi at Home program, this was a day where a number of P7 vacists had been invited to the center, and I was supposed to come up with fun and exciting experiments that they would relate to. So we did a couple of experiments, part of which was the burning hand experiment, which involved putting your hand on fire and it doesn't burn. So it was a really, really exciting experiment for both myself and for the learners.
One of the greatest moments for me was when we did the first simulation with the ESC tools in Chitante. And just seeing these children so excited, refusing to get out of class. It's break time, it's lunchtime, there's like, no, we're not going, let's finish everything, let's do this. And their final feedback at the end of it all, what we have learned, what we have gained from this experience. Of course, later on, the teachers saying that actually we're covering the content even faster. We thought it would make everything slow, but it's much better. And I think the final one that really was great for me is after 1 month of the rollout that we did in 2020, there was an actual improvement in performance in science in one of the schools that sent their results. It was, I think I ran up, I hugged Stacy, I hugged everyone in the building. It was a great time for me.
I think Fundi Bots has exploded. I must say. I mean, look, we started from Solomon's bedroom, and now we have 4 big offices. We had maybe five electronic kits. That was from the Google Rise. But now we have laser cutter machines, we have 3D printers. We started with robotics and students, the building of the robot. But now we are into teacher education, tool making, making practical tools under our enhanced science program, so that the teachers are not stuck with hard abstract topics, but they can have tools that can be made locally and acquired cheaply.
So first of all, when we talk about our achievements, I would say firstly we've been able to expand to 4 regional spaces. That is not an easy feat, but it also enabled us to have more reach for school outreach, because at first, for instance, when we were rolling out to Gulu, we had no team in Gulu, so we had to use the Kampala team to serve both in Kampala and also travel to Gulu and do trainings, and then eventually we were able to get funding to set up an office and hire staff for the Gulu region to do the work that we wanted to be done and expand there. Same thing for Mbale. When we started, Mbale had only 1 trainer who was also the technical support, Henry, and yeah, and were able to expand and have even more people training. And through all and then eventually we were also able to open up in Imbarara, which in 2019. However, in all this expansion, we've been able to reach about 175 schools. We've engaged over, I would say, 10,000 students and about 370 teachers. So in 2019, we received the Celebrating Womanhood Award, Celebrating Womanhood, the JVJ Award, for our Fundi Girls program, which we had just rolled out the previous year, and I think we had reached about, after we rolled it out in 1 year, and by 2019 we had almost 51 or 52% girls engaged in our programs. So yeah, and also even had more teachers engaged in our TOTs.
Over the next 10 years, basically between now and 2030, our goal is to reach 1 million African students. For the last 10 years, we've sort of been doing a sort of one-on-one training session where we go out ourselves and work with students and teachers directly, and that works up to a certain size. But when you want to scale rapidly, you now need to either increase your team exponentially or begin working with more and more partners. So for the next 10 years, we want to leverage partnerships, we want to leverage technology, we want to leverage remote delivery of learning. And that means that if we can be successful with something like Fundi at Home, within Uganda, that means we can replicate it in many African countries without increasing our staff significantly. We are implementing a teacher training program to help teachers use ICT better, but also use remote learning better. And if we succeed with that, then we'll have a large team of trainers who are committed to training fellow teachers. So instead of us having our own staff training teachers one at a time, we now have a decentralized approach to learning and growing. COVID, unfortunately, has widened the education gap even further. Many girls are not going to return to school. It's been really bad. And so we want to ramp up our Fundi Girls programs. We also want to ramp up our Fundi at Work programs, and then we want to ramp up the Fundi at Home programs. And the goal with all of those is, how do we create more opportunities to scale up learning by working with more partners in more countries and more regions over the next 10 years. My name is Solomon King Benge.
Betty Kitui Mukalu.
Mutunji Agatha.
Stephen Mambo. Olon Francis.
Akurutsara. Paul Ingrid Mugala.
Francis Kusimo.
Mnaluyange Janet Mukisa.
Zita Rosbella.
Yam Jimmy Wanzana Vende.
Ahabwe Nicholas. Rogers Atkunda. Noah Okitoy.
Walter Ojara. Robert Okelo.
And I
am Fundi.
I am Fundi.
I am Fundi.
I am a Fundi.
I am Fundi.
I am a Fundi.
I am Fundi.
I am Fundi. I'm a Fundi.
And I am Fundi.
I am Fundi.
I'm a Fundi.
And I'm a Fundi.
A Fundi.
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 I am a Fundi.